Let's talk about the power of consenting. This is the greatest power you have available to change yourself. Consenting to the change. This is the principle in which all the 12-step programs are based. When the so-called addict says, I am powerless, I surrender to the divine. The first step of the 12-step program, I surrender. I am powerless. But you, the divine, can do it, right? In that moment, they are consenting for the divine to move and do the trick and create sobriety. So this is the principle of consenting, is the one in which all the 12-step programs are founded. Surrendering in this case means consenting. There has to be the consent to please take care of this. This consenting comes from the law of free will. The free will is controlling this universe. Yeah, it's an illusion in the ultimate analysis, and I'm going to go there in a little while. It's an illusion. During awakening, you see that it is an illusion, but you play with the illusion. So you say, yes, I want this to change. I want to stop drinking, right? For example. And then the change happens and sobriety happens. So, but what happens after awakening? Because before awakening, the situation is very clear. Yeah, okay, here is this little self, me, that is a little bundle of consciousness that needs to accept, consent to a change for the change to happen. So it's kind of straightforward how to use the power of consent. Is the use of free will. Yeah, if you are you haven't awakened yet, but you use the power of consent, you can change anything. But perhaps you may need to insist a little bit for some time, requesting the universe or the divine to take care of a certain problem until it happens. What the confusion comes with a counter idea that comes later and says, but what are you doing to fix the situation? What are you doing to fix the situation? That doesn't happen later after awakening. That counter idea is gone. And I'm going to explain why. So let's say that you woke up. You woke up and you realized, that's what waking up is about, is the realization that this little self, this little bundle of consciousness that is supposed to be inside of you, is not there. There is consciousness, but it's undifferentiated and is looking through all the sentient beings in the universe. There's one divine consciousness, not 2 or 3 or 4 or billions. There are no consciousnesses. There is only consciousness. So now you wake up to that realization. Okay, so this little self never existed. Gian never existed. There is consciousness seeing through this mind-body organism. And then after awakening, life continues, and at some point in the mind-body organism there is an attitude or a habit that is less than ideal, some negative thoughts perhaps, and then there is awareness that there is the need to change something in the mind-body organism. And the question arises now, well, who is going to change it? Because the I is a story, so it's not here. So who is going to change it? Well, the obvious thing after awakening is that there is only one consciousness and there is one doer. Therefore, the only doer, the only thing that is doing in the universe is that one consciousness. So if somebody is going to fix the problem, whatever problem it is, has to be that one doer, meaning the divine consciousness. So now, after awakening, as I said, during the process called embodiment of the awakening, once a problem is identified in the mind-body organism of any kind, you can use again the power of consenting. But now it's more effective. Why? Because it's not confused with the idea of what do I need to do myself. It's not confused with that idea. Because it is, you realize that it's independent of what you do. That to fulfill the law, the illusory law of free will, the only thing that needs to happen is that the ego here, that still is alive, that's a misunderstanding of awakening, still the ego is alive as concepts and ideas about myself, that thing needs to consent. During the embodiment process, it needs to consent. So how it consents? Well, it basically communicates to the one the consent by saying, for example, please help with this. Please help with this bad habit or bad attitude or negative thought or fear or anything, negative emotion. Please help with this. Please remove this. And that is the power of consent. Before awakening and after awakening is effective. After awakening is more powerful. So during the embodiment process, if you are already awakened, I highly recommend that you begin to use the power of consent to change things that are less than ideal in the mind-body organism. And it's so simple. The only thing you need to do is identify the problem. Once it is clearly identified, then make sure the wanting to change that is there. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. The wanting in the mind-body organism has to be clear. There's a wanting to get rid of that thing. And then it needs to be stated clearly. Please remove this. Or I want this to change. Please help. There's nobody else that can do the job. Actually, no one else but that divine consciousness. And it has always been the same, before awakening was the same situation. But before awakening, what happens is that when the consent happens, actually very easily we moved into the ego state saying, look at what I did. I changed myself. Now I don't have this bad habit. That is not the case. As in the scriptures, I think the Bible says, everything happens by the will of the divine. Before awakening, after awakening. No one sparrow falls to the floor if it's not by the will of my Father, right? So on and so on in the different scriptures of the world. One Brahma without a second. There is just one Brahma, one consciousness without a second. So one consciousness is the doer, there is no other. I hope this helps. And I highly recommend to wake up, because the embodiment process afterwards, changing the mind, body, organism with whatever issue it has, becomes much easier. It's much easier than before. The path towards liberation speeds up, I would say, 100 times. That's the importance of awakening. Not to mention that by itself, awakening brings the drop of a lot of neurosis, and your level of happiness, or the level of happiness that is experienced here, because not your level of happiness, the level of happiness that is experienced by no one increases also immensely. So I hope this helps, and if you want to wake up, there is a link down below this YouTube to the Awakening Protocol, which is a fast way. In 3 hours you get it. Take care.